Alright boys, how's all doing?
All good.
Not bad, mate. How's you?
I'm good, mate, I'm good. Welcome back to this very special podcast sponsored by Rent-A-Kill. If you have an infestation of rats or other pests, please reach out to them. They'll be able to sort it, no problem at all. Just quote Jambo and you'll get 10% off. That's a hard one to take, boys, isn't it?
Certainly has been.
I'm sure that'll be. We'll use that as our intro just for Rangers Day Twitter. They'll be buzzing. They'll be buzzing after that, so we can we'll keep that in for them.
We've already got notifications on our tweets anyway. So it's fine.
Aye, again, that's fine. They're searching us every week. Brads, what's been happening? You alright?
Not bad, mate. I've just had a kind of long weekend of bashing coffee houses and writing bad reviews.
Very injured. That's my that's my favourite. That's my favourite.
I hate when my coffee's very injured.
Aye, I like that. I like this. I also like fair play to the Rangers fans that are now also responding, giving it 5 stars, saying tastes like a champion, which is exactly the pettiness that we're all for. I like it. Very slimy, very snaky, very injured. Nice. You're in a hipster coffee house. What are you having?
I detest coffee. Full stop. It's as far as I'm concerned, the worst drink in the world. So there you go.
Is this a new thing? Or?
No. Just generally been like that for about 40 years.
Just for Friday? Is it just for Friday? Is it that you've decided you hate coffee?
I used to be six cups a day up until Friday morning, and then I decided that's it. I'm off it.
You're off it, mate. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. They are very snaky these days, the coffees. I would have avoided them as well. Tam, what's been happening?
Funny enough, I've just been booing my coffee as it's like being poured, man. Like that's all my weekend's been.
In Starbucks, just booing coffee. Boo. Mate, if we didn't laugh, we'd greet it. If we didn't laugh, we'd greet. Obviously, welcome back to This Is My Story podcast, your unofficial Hearts podcast. As we say every week, all of our opinions are our own, and as all the Rangers dads in our mentions can attest to, talk total shite. So here we go. Right, obviously we've had a wee bit of the winter shutdown is finished. We're back to business on Tuesday, so we'll go through the goings on of the last few weeks. We can talk transfers, contract extensions, fans back. We'll talk a wee bit about the big blether that we had last week with everybody. Thanks again to everybody that joined us. It seemed to go down pretty well. Again, it's probably something that we'll potentially look to bring in and do again for another pod or something, because folks seem to like it, which was fun. Then we'll preview our next home game, which is St Johnstone, Tuesday night. Back with fans in, which is great. And then also I thought we did it at the start of the season. We've done it sporadically through bits of the season as well, as we'd look at our next 5 games, because we've basically got three home games, one very easy winnable away match, and then we've got Auchinleck in the cup. So it'll be good to talk through the next 5. Aye. So Tam, what do you think? What's your thoughts on the week that's transpired?
Tell you what, fuck football is back, but this week it was all looking nice with all the contract extensions coming through. We've kept a hold of all our best players, our best defenders, done all that, and then Friday hit us, and yeah, hard pill to swallow. Kind of expected, but as we've discussed online and the way that individual has went about it, I'll give us our first beep. He's a fucking
That's good. Well, it's been a while, and to be fair, on a episode sponsored by Terminex, who are brilliant at getting rid of rats and any other infestations in your house, we've done well to that only be the first. So we've done well. We've done well. Brads, again, we won't give them too much airtime, but you got any thoughts on it or anything you want to say on the matter?
Do you know what? I think it sours as Tam says, like a very good week for the club. We have secured some massive names there for us, and we all know Suter's leaving. I think, as you'll probably go on to rant about for the next 4 hours, is the manner in which you go about something like this. We knew he was away. We knew he was going to Rangers. Like, everybody knew that. That's not the issue. It's the issue of how you condone yourself and how you leave with the blessing of the fact. Not the blessing so much, but you know what I mean. They there's a professional way to do it, and I think it's missed a trick. As somebody who has been a good servant for the club. But I think it's overshadowed. What's really important is keeping those big names in there. And I think it was the same Celtic that had done the predicted goals charts.
Yeah.
Chart.
I've got that written down as a wee giggle to myself. So
if you go back to his stats as well, then that's Suter's not even like top 10. So
we've been slaughtering it for weeks, the expected goals charts, but now that it's shown that Stephen Kingsley's the best defender in the league, we're now quote tweeting him and saying he knows his stuff, this guy. You're right. I'll rant about John Suter in 2 seconds after I let Kev have his say. What are you saying? Take it, Kev.
I think exactly as Brad's just said there now. Altogether, the last 7-8 days at the club has been brilliant. We've in fact, even since the turn of the year, it's been brilliant to see Craig commit probably the rest of his football. Aye, Craig. We're all on first name terms.
Who gogs it?
Commit to what will be his last contract. I don't think he'll be looking for another contract at the age of 42. Who knows though? The way he is, big sexy bastard, there's a good chance he could probably still be playing football. But to commit others, Halkett, Kingsley, for Smith to extend his contract, everything was great. And then, as Brad says, the actions of one individual has probably put a bit of a sour note on the month so far. So, as I say, I think that's all we need to say about him.
Aye. And look, let's clarify. Here's the bit that the Rangers does want, right? Is you had to be a blind man not to know that John Suter was going to go to Rangers, right? And again, I've said it on the blether, I've said it on Twitter, and my feelings about all that anyway. Like, I don't begrudge him going to Rangers. If you could have picked, you would have picked him to go somewhere else, of course you would, because you now want to see your best players leave for nothing and strengthen a club that you would have ambitions to challenge one day for, whether it be cups or eventually or hopefully one day for leagues or whatever. That stings, right? But when you take your heart's glasses off and you see it, the guy will go from £3,000-4,000 a week to 10, 15, 20,000 pound a week. That's ridiculous. Like, that is monumental, life-changing money, right? You can't argue with that. He won't only improve his own life, he'll improve his family's life, his kids' life, and potentially, if he's sensible and does it properly, he could impact his kids' life by the money that he makes and all that sort of stuff. Then you take in that you play in Europe every year, potentially winning cups, potentially winning leagues, right? That's fine. You don't begrudge him for that, but what we do begrudge him for is the fact that I hated my last job, right? I hated it. But I phoned my boss to say, by the way, just as a heads up, I'm handing my notice in tomorrow. Just so that you know, so it doesn't shock you when it comes in, but I'm leaving. I gave her the courtesy known before I told everybody else. That's all you're asking. When Hearts found it was when everybody else found it, when Rangers announced it. They'd given us permission to be there for medicals or whatever the day before, but as far as they were concerned, he'd done his bit at training and was in his house. Do you know what I mean? And then they find out that actually he's made his decision and he's decided to go to Rangers, which he's entitled to do. Right? Look, that's football. We're all upset because we're Hearts fans. I get it. But a courtesy for the fact that we stood by him for 3 years. We've spoke about it before here. We spoke glowingly of John Suter because he's a great football player. He's been on the brink of having his career finished. And we've all said how buzzing we've been to see him. When he scored against Celtic, it was a beautiful moment. Even when he scored for Scotland, we thought unbelievable. Like, a guy that's been literally on his knees, almost giving up the game. We gave him a contract when he was injured, and we've attempted to make him the highest paid player at the football club. Right? That is all by the by. a text, a phone call to say, by the way, just so you know, I've made my decision. Signing with Rangers, it's going to be announced later on the day. The club can then say, right, thanks for letting us know, we'll deal with it. But again, I think it's poor. It's poor form. And like I've said on Twitter, is he was always going to get pelters. We know that. That's just football, isn't it? But there was a chance that if it was done properly, he'd have got booed for 10, 15, 20 minutes on Tuesday. Hearts would have scored, he could have scored, and by the end of the 90, people would have forgot about it and moved on. But the fact that now we know he's treated the club in the way that he has, there's a way to do things, and I just don't see how, and this is where my next question to all you comes, is I just don't see how he plays for Hearts again, if I'm being totally honest. And you can read the statement by Hearts. They're not pleased either, so decisions will have to be made. I'm in a catch-22 because I don't want the club to accept a low ball offer, £300,000, just to send them along Rangers now. Weirdly, and maybe it's the bitterness in me, I don't know, I would rather he played no football for the next 6 months and he sat in the stands and we let him leave for nothing. I don't know why. It's probably better, of course, but that's my opinion on it. I just don't see how he plays Tuesday. Brad?
I was thinking about this today, and it goes two ways. See if he sits on the, as every Hearts fan saying, like, let him rock, let him play with the youth team, all that kind of stuff. That suits Rangers perfectly. That suits him almost perfectly as well, because he's avoiding an injury. He can focus on his fitness, and he goes flying in the door at Rangers, fit and ready to go. Although, albeit he's out at game time, but we know how good a player he is. For me, as a club, and they've said that he's a Hearts player, he's a key asset to us. You play him Tuesday night. You play him the next couple of games in January, and Rangers then have to take the risk. Christ, does he get injured playing my Hearts every game from now to the end of the season, or do we actually put a value to him? Do we see if they do value him as a player, then they should put the money up. If they do see him as such a good asset, then why shouldn't they put the money up front and get him in for the next 5-6 months and secure that title that they're after?
Right, but then,
so for me, that's the throw as the club's got to do. I'd chuck him in on Tuesday, and then even as just a strategic move to say to Rangers, well, we're playing him until the end of the season. So if you want him fit and healthy, you've got to be putting the money in now.
Aye. And look, Rangers are in no desperate need to sign John Souttar. That landscape might change if they sell Connor Goldson, or Connor Goldson leaves in this window, or one of their back two or back three pick up an injury. Like, I get it, but again, it makes no sense for Rangers to come and pay £750,000 for a guy that they're going to get in 6 months. Like, do you know what I mean? I get that. So there is it's a bit of a pure catch-22, because on the other flip side of that, if the top three win the Scottish Cup this year, we pretty much guaranteed £4 or £5 million in European football if we finish third. So you have to say, right, well, in our strongest 11 and our best 11, John Souttar plays, because like, as much as it stings to say it, because we're fucking raging with him or whatever, but he does. He plays. He's one of the best. For me, he's probably the best defender in Scotland currently. So he starts and he plays. So it's totally weird that we cut our nose off to spite our face, because the flip side of that, again, to play devil's advocate, is we've just come off a 3-week break. We've not played in those times. Aberdeen or Hibs could pick up points tomorrow, but Hibs could shock Celtic and get a result at Parkhead. Aberdeen could beat Rangers at Pittodrie. Motherwell and Dundee United could win, or 7 points or 5 points, whatever we are. We could extend that to 10, depending on who we're playing, if we win on Tuesday. So you think, right, well, we've not played for ages, we could be sluggish, we could be there, full house at Tynecastle, booing, venom, anger, getting on the player's back every time he touches the ball, booed, every mistake he makes, booed, cheering if he gets a tackle, all that sort of stuff. Like, how does that help Hearts, Tam?
You make a good point. I hadn't really thought about it like that, especially with the money's coming in. If we do get Europe, it's difficult. And I have no answer. As you can tell, I'm just waffling. I'm just waffling here. I genuinely think it would be, I suppose it's down to him. I don't think he's the type of player who will down tools if he is put in a position of starting on Tuesday. I don't think he's the type of player that will react to negative sort of booing or abuse from the fans either. And it does generally come down to how fickle we will be. Will we, if we are winning, he scores, will we stop the booing? Will we do that? It's one of those things. It's hard for the management to decide. Do we have a set replacement coming in who's going to be the same level of performance that Suter will give? Would a Taylor Moore come in and, because he's got an eyes on trying to maybe sign for us or something, would he put more into it? I don't know, to be honest.
Right. And look, Kev, this is the other counter argument. And again, I'm going to say this to probably upset Hearts fans more than upset the Rangers fans listening. But John Souttar all season long has been one bad injury away from that's it, career over. Like, do you know what I mean? He was into the last 11, 10 months of his contract. If he got injured by Hearts, there's nothing to say Hearts would have offered him a contract extension if he'd had another bad injury or an Achilles rupture and all that sort of stuff. And he's gave everything in every game he's played. Like, do you know what I mean? He's never shirked a tackle. He's never shot out a 50-50. He's gave everything that he's had while playing for Hearts. There's absolutely nothing, in my opinion, unless you think different, to say that John Souttar starts on Tuesday gives anything less than 100% for Hearts. Or am I daydreaming? What do you think, Kev?
No, I agree. I was listening to the radio on Saturday and about it all, and I'm in agreement with Brad's that I think we play him. We have to play him. He is, as you rightly say, that he's committed in the way in which he plays the game. I don't think any Hearts fan can argue that particular point. I think he will still continue to be fully committed for the remainder of the season. I would play him in every single game that he's able to play, of course, depending on suspension, etc., etc. So I would continue to play him from the point of view that John Souttar in that defence, in my opinion, would actually is the best option, meaning that we can secure third place. So we lose John Souttar at the end of the season. He walks away along the M8. We get nothing for him. Right, okay. But what he has done by showing the commitment to the club, he's actually helped us get to third place. Third place, as you rightly say, is a possible couple of million quid in one of the league formats of European football. So from my side of things, continue to play him. If Rangers do come in,
Kev. I wanted you full tinfoil hat saying that this has been deliberate. He didn't slide tackle Joe Aribo because he was already on the way out.
Yeah, again.
Well, I've got a question for the tinfoil hat. What happens on the 6th of February? Do we play him when we go to Ibrox?
Yes,
of course we do.
Of course you do. You've still got to play him, and in that particular instance, you've got to play him for the point of view that if he has a shit game, Rangers fans will be what the hell have we fucking done here? Why are we actually signing him? He's absolutely pish. He doesn't get into this back 3, back 4, whatever on that particular performance. So he's actually got to give a performance to his future fans to actually show I actually am deserving of a position in your team.
I suppose he's future manager as well, essentially.
John Souttar will 100% play on the 6th of February, but he'll be playing for Rangers. Hearts and Rangers. This is it's one of the reasons why. And look, fair play to Rangers for being able to do it. They understand. Same with Celtic. They understand the pool they have over pretty much 99% of the Scottish football pool of talent that's here. Is they know that Hearts and Hibs and Aberdeen and all that sort of stuff can't match Celtic or Rangers when they come to the table with a contract offer. We just can't. So we could offer John Souttar £5,000. Celtic and Rangers can show up and say, we'll give you £25,000. It's a no-brainer. We can never argue with that. And then when we're in situations like this, it's everything is in Rangers ballpark, innit? John Souttar plays on Tuesday, gets absolute pelters, 90 minutes in nothing but dogs abuse. Hearts lose, the atmosphere's terrible. Robbie Nielsen and Joe Savage will get round the table and say, get him out. We can't. There's just accept whatever Rangers offer, accept, because he's got to go. We can't have that atmosphere around the football club. And Rangers are sitting, rubbing their hands, gone brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Because they're not going to come chapping our door saying, we want John Souttar now, here's 600 grand, here's 700 grand. They'll say, here's what we're offering on the table, and we're not offering any less. We'll get him in the summer, whether it be £250,000, whether it be £300,000 or something. And like you said, whatever happens, John Souttar stays and plays against Celtic, takes 3 points off Celtic next again day. Rangers will say, right, we'll pay you the £500,000 you want because he's done what we wanted him to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, bring him along the road. So, come the 6th of February, John Souttar will be playing for Rangers. That's my... I almost said that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so, but I know literally nothing about about wrestling other than that. So we'll move on. Because we've gave him enough airtime. But again, just a wee plug for West Lothian Pest Control. That wee segment there was sponsored. So again, if you've got a rat or infestation in your house, West Lothian Pest Control are the people to go to. Right, let's talk about the good stuff. Kev, you mentioned it anyway, so you might as well dive into it. Contract extensions this week. Craig Halkett, hopefully on the podcast next. Stephen Kingsley and Mikey Smith signing contract extensions with the football club. Great business for Hearts, isn't it?
Outstanding. It is outstanding. If I'm being truthfully honest, in the run up to the opening of the January transfer window, I was actually more worried the Kingsley leaving than Souttar leaving. Somebody, I'm not going to name names, but somebody on the radio on Saturday actually said that Souttar has been our best defender this year. I don't know what games he's been watching, because Stephen Kingsley, as far as I'm concerned, is the best football player this season outfield. So the best outfield player we've had all season is Stephen Kingsley. And you could probably have a very good argue or debate in regards to who is your player of the season so far between Craig and Stephen. Yes, that was me using their first names again, just in case anybody was going to pick me up.
Ewan's going to batter you. He's going to
kick
in.
That's fine. That's fine.
Kev, did you know say that John Souttar scoring against Celtic was your favourite moment in 2021?
No, I think it was. I think I said what I'd said was effectively I just loved Shanks' celebration at that particular night because he was that pissed.
Brad's, again, what's your thoughts on the contract extensions? Is there any one that you think is brilliant business for the club?
Do you know what? I know Kingsley's the obvious one because he offers everything. But for me, I'm really pleased with Halkett. The form that he's had, his recent form in the last 10 games, we can say Souttar's been an absolute rock, but he's been a better defender. For me personally, he's won a lot more. There's been a lot fewer mistakes from him, and I know we've accounted or contributed his success down to Souttar and having that support there. And there's no lying he's grown his game from that. But I'm really pleased with that bit of business, and I think when you look at Gordon, the back three, and then Atkinson, we're building really back just now, pushing forward and getting that final execution up top for me, and I'm pleased with what we've done.
Aye, and so's Craig Halkett. Craig Halkett's ego's just inflated because he's went from being the fucking worst defender we had to suddenly he's the best of it. Everybody's on Twitter be like, fuck it, he's better than Souttar. He's always been better than Souttar. I love Craig Halkett. So I agree though. I think I'm pretty happy with the business we've done with Halkett. And so Brad's looked really happy with the thing. Are you still there, or are you just froze, Brad's? Fucking amazing point, Brads. Honestly, man, you've nailed that there. I don't even know if we even have to say any more on that because what you've said there, outstanding, mate. Outstanding. Tam, how can you deal with that, mate? What you got to say now?
Stuck now, like can't really say much. Might just freeze as well and just pretend I made a good point. That'd be class. No, what I was going to say is just it's class to see a January transfer window where we're not panicking. We are just keeping our sort of core of the squad, the players that have got us in a good position this year, and we're not just panic buying for the sake of panic buying, which we have done for however many seasons now in January, haven't we? So it's good to see. I'm glad that we've got that sort of ethos now and keeping our best players, and then maybe getting one or two bodies in that'll strengthen us.
As we're linked with a guy that's playing in the Vida Conference League, We're definitely no panicking. Definitely no panicking. As we're trying to sign anybody for the J League and just anybody that scores goals in the Johnson's Paint Conference North or whatever it is.
Just hoping they're Jamie Vardy and that's it.
Just anybody. Just anybody.
Listen, I 100% want, was it Kabongo Tishmanga in just for the name? We can get a class song out of that, surely.
I'm trying to think. Venga Boys. We've got the rest. We've got ABBA, Belinda Carlisle. We've got Atomic Kitten. We need the Venga Boys. We need some Venga Boys in our life. But I agree. I think it's great to see, and we've actually spoke about this in a couple of the sort of watch alongs and the last couple of chats that we've had, or the big blether thing that we had the other week, is like John Souttar was always going to be, for me, John Souttar or Kingsley. This batch of players was going to be the last, for me anyway, I believe, of the type of players that would just get to 6 months of their contract left and leave for nothing, if you know what I mean. Like, there seemed to be a real step change, the culture of the club, about securing assets and making sure that, you know, we're at a much better negotiating spot when it comes to selling and flipping our own players. So things like, I'd quite like to see, you know, Peter Haring, we all want to see get a contract extension, but let's be honest, a contract extension to Peter Haring, Craig Gordon, Mikey Smith aren't going to make the football club money, you know. But if we can tie down Boyce for longer, if we can tie down Barry Mackay for longer, these are the type of deals that I would quite like to see in the summer. Like, I'd like to see the club start talking about it now to say if we can try and get these guys like tied down to longer terms. But I agree with you. I think brilliant business. The Stephen Kingsley one literally is a superb bit of business for us, because he's a genuine contender to be sold for millions. Kev?
I'd be interested to find out what their thoughts are in regards to guys like Cochrane and Moore. Cochrane is definitely somebody I think that he is out of contract with Brighton at the end of the season. If we were able to make a commitment to Cochrane, I genuinely believe there's another way that you could actually make millions. I do think that boy, he's been impressive. When he plays with Moore on the other side, we've mentioned before, especially you, Corbett, it gives better balance to the way in which the actual team perform. I'd be really interested to see if there was a possible deal there. Depends on, of course, what kind of contract, what kind of payments he's getting from Brighton, of course.
The idea would be that I believe that Mikey Smith has signed this contract with the idea that he's going to slip into that back three. I believe he'll play probably on the right hand side of the back three. But with the John Souttar situation, Taylor Moore has been very good on the right hand side or whatever, but he clearly is a centre back. Like, John, that's his role. So probably Tuesday night, I'd expect to see him in the back three. I'd expect to see Moore, Halkett, and Kingsley at the back would be my guess. But I agree with you're saying as well, Kev, is that's, you know, if, let's be honest, he's not going to get a contract at Brighton, Cochrane, so we should be, and I fully probably trust that we are. Moore's slightly different because he's got a year left, didn't he? We're going to go back to Bristol. So Cochrane is the one for me that's been the most impressive out of them. Also, when you add in the fact that he scores goals, you know, and obviously he's not scored an abundance of them, but he does have that in his locker. Which, when we play the position, the formation that we do, it's good to see. So, do we reckon we'll see a debut tomorrow? Do you think Atkinson will come in and start? Where do you see him slipping into the team, Brads?
Probably not. I don't know if there's been enough time to bed in there, and if we do have everybody fit and healthy, he probably won't fit into that team for me straight away. Although if what we're hearing, the rumours and murmurs that he's a decent player, then I would like to see more of a wing back, because as you say, Moore is more centre back role. That is him. He's a centre back going forward. I'd rather see a wing back going forward and then coming back to defend, if that makes sense at all. So I think
probably because we're used to talking shite with you anyway, so I kind of understood what you mean. But anybody else that doesn't talk shite with you would probably be like, "What's he talking about?"
More offensive than defensive. That's what I was going at.
Defense.
So I don't know if he'll feature on Tuesday, but I would like to see him over the next maybe week, 2 weeks coming in.
Certainly,
Agreed.
plenty of games for him to get his chance in over the next couple of
Absolutely.
weeks.
Exactly. And then obviously, last one of this wee bit for the fans to be back Tuesday night. We'll hopefully be as close to a full house as we can get for a Tuesday night. Kev, makes a big difference to the team. Watching Hearts fucking play in an empty Tynecastle is terrible, isn't it? It's good to be back.
If you came to me because you know that I'm not going to be there on Tuesday
Yep,
night, thanks for
exactly.
that. Cheers.
Tried to throw you under the bus, mate.
Aye, feel like shite. Thanks very much. I will not unfortunately be there, but it is, Tynecastle empty is just hollow. You can even, when you're watching the game on the TV, you can even feel it just doesn't feel right. And I don't know about anybody else, but I always believe that the best games are always in the evening anyway. I love Tynecastle under the floodlights. That sort of whole feel about the actual ground is just brilliant. But unfortunately, yes, I will be missing it on Tuesday night. So thanks for that, Corbett. Cheers.
No bother, mate. I'm looking forward to it because I have to stand next to you. So that's be good. Sam, obviously news broke. It shouldn't even be news, but because of the world of Scottish football, what's your thoughts on the thousands and thousands of Celtic fans missing out on tickets for the Hearts game? Gutting, innit?
Disgrace. It's a
That's
disgrace.
terrible, man. It's
Honestly.
embarrassing for the club, isn't it? Imagine them putting Hearts fans above Celtic fans. What the fuck are the club thinking?
It's not like it's. You know what? It's so harsh on Celtic as well. Like they give us loads of seats and like with really good views, top of the range seats when we go there. So you know what? Having them not coming and singing their bile, and that was really posh for me. I should have said
and it's getting kept in.
But they've come in. I'm glad to see it. For me, there's only one team that should get a full stand, and that's because we want a full stand there, and that's Hibs. So, as much as we can reduce their impact of having what was it, the stand holds 3,000-4,000, something like that, reducing that to 1,000 or whatever, it's much better for us. You've seen it in the Rangers game. I know we got beat and all that, but our performance was probably up there with a lot like the better performances we played against Rangers in the last few years. So I hope it's there for the rest of the few years coming and we don't just go back on ourselves. But I suppose it goes back to we need to sell it out again and hopefully get as close to a sellout as possible.
See, I kind of disagree because we don't have to sell it. That's the whole point. We're under no pressure to sell that stand out. I've said before we could fucking leave it empty. I would actually prefer that. I prefer to see the blocks completely and utterly empty, not a soul in it, to prove a point. We do not need the money from Celtic or Rangers. We do not need that money anymore. They can ram it. I do like that you said our best performance against Rangers, and it just happened to be our first defeat to Rangers at home in like fucking 6 years or something like that. But I know the point you were making, Tam. It was fine.
Aye, fair point.
I also like that the club said they gave them Celtic 1,800 tickets because that's the amount of teeth the Green Brigade had to pick up off the Gorgie Road opening game of the season, which was good. So here's hoping they get as lovely a welcome to Tynecastle on whatever it is when we play them at the end of the month. But it's sensible for Hearts, isn't it? It's why would we give 4,000, especially when Tynecastle is so atmospheric and it's so good for big games and stuff. You want as many Hearts fans there as physically possible to cheer the boys. The boys on. Why did I say that? Cheer the boys.
When the boys.
Ronan Keating's up front.
Oh, that was terrible.
That was terrible. I was just trying to leave it silent just so people can understand what we have to deal with this cunt. Right. Let's start. On you go, Brad. Try and save it, man.
No, absolutely. No, I can't after that. Just one of the boys.
Come on.
I'll be there with my clap.
Right. There's nothing else to talk about in terms of headlines. We touched on it there we've been linked to a couple of players in the press, but again, if anything that Hearts have shown us over the last few months is these are just the press is out the loop as we are when it comes to the ins and outs of who's coming into Tynecastle. So I take anything that I read just now in the paper with a pinch of salt. Did see a good suggestion on one of the Hearts fans Facebook pages though. Vertigo striker currently being released by Celtics is worth a punt, is it not? What's your thoughts on that? We bring him in or just move on?
I heard he's about a beast in front of goal, but
Aye, that's true, mate. That is very true. So we'll just leave it there. We'll move on. Right, Tuesday night, first of 5 games in about 4 days, whatever. We seem to just be on a roll where we're just playing it every second day or something because of the winter shutdown. But we're at home to St Johnstone. First game of 2022. Brads, how are you feeling about it? What would you like to see for Hearts? What's your thoughts on the game?
I weirdly feel positive, which is a horrible feeling for me.
That's us fucked then.
I know. The only kind of concern I've got was comments made by Robbie prior to this kind of winter break when he said we've got such a busy transfer that we're going to be rotating the team as much as possible. That goes back to the old Robbie system of changing the team every single week and just rotating boys in, and there's no momentum. So that gives me the fear. And the likes of a few young boys featuring, which we always love to see, but potentially it's at the expense of a Peter Haring or the expense of a Michael Smith or a Stephen Kingsley. That gives me a bit of a fear factor there.
Aye. So we should get the facts out the way. We only beat St Johnstone at Tynecastle in what feels like a fucking millennium. We just seem to have teams. Well, to be fair, every team we play this year, I think would be Aberdeen, Hibs, and Rangers. Well, literally up until the start of this season, we're about the only teams we'd beat at Tynecastle in about 4 seasons. So, and the other thing that makes me nervous is St Johnstone are fucking rubbish. They've been terrible, terrible all season long. They didn't look like they are going to stay up. They look like they're going to go down. They're in terrible form. Haven't they won in ages? Don't score goals. 3-0 St Johnstone, innit?
Do you know what I love is the hypocrisy as well, that we spent all year going, see Souters linked with Rangers or see Thingwe's linked with Celtic every time we're playing them. And we've been linked with Jamie McCart the week that we were playing in St Johnstone.
Oh, really?
They're probably sitting up there going, fucking who we playing this week? Always the same.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know, like in advanced talks with Aberdeen, try to sign him try to get him in a free contract.
There was something in the paper today, though, but it was like one of these articles. He's just picked 5 defenders' names at random and said that Hearts should go for him.
And to be honest, I wouldn't take any St Johnstone player right now. If it was St Johnstone last season, maybe a couple, but not now. They look absolutely shambolic. Kev, you're not going to be there. Do you agree with what Brad is saying? Do you reckon we'll see rotation in this game, or are we likely to see as close to the same team that played Ross County as possible?
I think you're going to probably see the same team. Well, the only exception, I would think anyway, would Devlin would come back in. I think that's him now served his ban. Is that right? Yep. So you might see Devlin coming in. There was also rumour that Benny was back in training. I think I've seen a couple of little video clips. Because the team went back to training on Tuesday or Wednesday last week, and I'm sure I've seen Benny. So it looks like he's back. So could we actually go back to that sort of midfield duo of Devlin and Benny once again? That might be the only change. But personally, I would prefer to see the same team that went out and played pretty well, I thought, against Ross County. No, I don't see any need for it. I think, again, going by the away performance at McDermott Park earlier in the season, boys didn't play in that game. He came off the bench. And in all honesty, we absolutely battered them. We battered them 1-1. But especially the second half, we were shocking for the first 20 minutes, but thereafter. So I don't see any need to bring him in. I think the way we played against Ross County would be good enough anyway to beat St Johnstone.
Sam, what's your thoughts? Do you see, obviously, Andy Halliday, Mikey Smith, etc., all played against Ross County? Woodburn played through the middle. What do you see?
I think you got your strongest 11. So Cochrane comes in, Benny comes in, Boyce comes in for me. I think after that long a period out, you're putting your strongest 11 in. We'll not talk about centre backs at the moment because I don't know how that's going to play out. But I think you do play Cochrane ahead of Halliday. Conflicted though with Haring because he has been probably our most creative midfielder this season. It's a difficult one. How do you put the three of them in? Because that would be amazing. But yeah, but it's going to stay the 3-4-3 essentially, isn't it? So I've just talked myself out of what I was saying.
You just said
I do that all the time.
You just said Peter Haring was our most creative midfielder as well, which I just
no, like out of the centre midfielders, he's the best passer of the ball in terms of passing.
That's true. That is true. I don't see Peter Haring dropping out of the team because St Johnstone will be robust in that area of the park on Tuesday, I'll imagine. So I don't think Robbie will risk Benny coming back from an injury, putting him in that midfield. I think Devlin will probably come back. I think Mikey Smith will replace John Souttar at the back. I think we'll probably see the preferred back three going forward, which will be Smith, Halkett and Kingsley. Boyce plays every day of the week when he's fit for me, but I understand what Kev's saying. It's what we spoke about in the big blether is, what do you do? Because that's the two best games Woodburn has had in Maroon have been when he's played central at Tynecastle and through the middle. And he's scored two against Dundee United, and he's obviously scored against Ross County as well. So it's a difficult one, but it's a good headache for Robbie to have. I think everywhere else in the park looks after itself, probably. I don't see Cochrane coming in. Did Cochrane start against Ross County?
Halliday
started.
I don't think Andy Halliday will come out the team. If I'm being honest with you, I think he'll play. He'll play as well.
Why do you think that is, by the way? Because what's Cochrane essentially done wrong?
I don't know. The weird thing with loans is there's all different things that could be in play. Do you know what I mean? Like Brighton might have got a slight knock and a slight injury, and Brighton have asked for him to sit on the bench for a few games till he's 100% fully fit or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not our player. It's what they decide today. We take the steer from them as to what's going on. They might look at stupid things like stats and his workload and all that type of stuff and say, he's overworked or whatever, ease him out. I don't know. Could just be that he's no fancied or. Do you know what I mean? It's a strange one, and the thing is, it's pretty clear that Robbie and the guys, the coaching team trust Halliday. He's brought in for big games. Whenever we're sort of a player down and sort of anywhere along the back three or in the midfield, he looks to Halliday to come in and shore it up. And again, I don't mind that thinking because St Johnstone are going to go long. They're going to niggle us. They're going to try and knock us off our rhythm because, as Kev said, for 70 minutes at McDermott Park, we absolutely battered them. And when we say we passed them off the park, they could not get near us. They were chasing shadows. And at home, we'll expect to dominate and we play expansive. They'll look to do exactly what Ross County did, which is try and press us, try and harry us, kick us, break up play, stop play. Look at what Joe Savage said on the watch along. Our worst game of the season was Motherwell, and the stats said that the ball was in play for 28 minutes out of the 90. And think of everything that Hearts try to do. It's dominate the ball, it's play it wide, play it through the channels, keep it on the deck. If the ball's not in play, we can't do it. So I see Halliday playing Haring because he breaks up play. I think you bring Devlin in because he's nippy and you want somebody in and thereabout, and you'll want boys to run them ragged. So that's where I am. Right, Tam, prediction time. Put your big boy pants on. What is your prediction for Tuesday?
3-0 Hearts.
Nice, 3-0 Hearts, right? Who's scoring?
Boys.
And that creative midfielder, Haring?
Haring. I'm going to say the Haring goal. 30-yard wonder strike, curled all the way in for the corner flag, right in the top bag.
Is
He's
it
so creative.
Is it 30 yards for the corner flag to the goal? I don't think it is, like, but it's fine. I'll let you go.
No, like it goes all the way out and comes back
Right,
in,
right.
man. Like it's just total class.
Just leave it, boys. Don't say anything. Just let it linger so that people know the shit we have to put up with when he's on. Brad, what's your prediction?
1-0. Early goal and squeaky for the round in 8 minutes.
Aye. Kev.
You've not said 1-0 to who?
Aye, I'll just leave it at 1-0.
Aye, just 1-0. I'll cover all my bases. Kev.
1-0 Hearts.
Usually when I give a prediction, I'm so far off it, but I'm going to be convincing here, and a 2-0 home victory.
Okay. A repeat of Ross County. It'll be 2-1. Hearts will play brilliant for 50, 60 minutes, and then something will knock us off our stride, and they will get a goal. Stevie May or Chris Kane or somebody will score out of nothing, and we'll be squeaky bum for the rest of the game. But we'll manage to see it out, hopefully. So what are the fixtures? Because again, this is like, these seem like quite crucial games. The next 5 coming up, because Robbie has to make a statement in the cup. It's the one thing on his CV where he's been dreadful. He delivers near enough everywhere else, but in the cups he's got a pretty pathetic record. And again, we can vanquish some of the demons of Aurora. We're playing non-league team away from home in the first round of the cup. So
He'll not do it. He'll play a shite team against Talbot and we'll get beat.
I'm going off the grid next Saturday.
Brave.
Not even looking
There's
at
no danger he's going to risk league positions for a cup. And I know as much as it pains us, because that's the only thing we're about ready to win or about in the ethos of winning. But he's going by a shite team against Talbot.
Well, that'll be a fun pod. That'll be a fucking fun pod, won't it?
Get that bed sheet unfolded, Corbett, because you'll be back in that plaza again.
I will be right in there. You better fucking believe it. Aye, but the game's on. So the reason I was bringing it up is we're 5 points in front of Motherwell, 7 points in front of Hibs, 8 points in front of Aberdeen, and 9 points in front of Dundee United, or maybe even more than that against Dundee United. It feels
11.
the way the fixtures are Monday and Tuesday, we have a real opportunity to cement and distance ourselves, because, like I said, Celtic host Hibs Monday night at Celtic Park, and then it's Aberdeen Rangers, isn't it, on Tuesday as well, and then it's obviously Hearts v St Johnstone. We couldn't have asked, touch wood, for an easier game. We've got the bottom side in the league, the worst side in the league, at home, where we've been pretty brilliant all season long, and we have an opportunity to go 8 points in front of Motherwell, 10 points in front of Hibs, and 14 points in front of Aberdeen. Surely we can't make a cunt of it, can we?
Tam loves the jinx, but by God, you have just gone one step further there.
Mate, we have to do it. At least it's got a good excuse when it does happen. We can say, fuck, see, we jinxed it. But it is a crucial period coming up.
Suitor to sign a 3-year deal with Hearts and just be like, "Hey, I was joking."
Yeah, I was kidding on. But so we'll get St Johnstone at home, then we play Auchinleck in the Cup away, then we play Celtic at home, Motherwell at home before we play the Derby. So, Tam, out of those games, how do you think we'll fare?
So win the first 2. Take what you can get against Celtic, to be honest with you. I would like a performance to the first game of the season. Then when you got Motherwell, we have to make up for that performance. And then I don't want to jinx it with Hibs, so I'm not making a prediction.
You want us to maybe mimic the result against Celtic, but we can't have another performance like the one we had against Celtic the first game of the season, because we were fucking rubbish.
Yeah, my memory was clouded there. I was thinking that we were class, but no, we nicked that game, didn't we?
Brad, what's your feelings for the next 5?
We win against St Johnstone. Is this league, or are we counting Talbot game as well?
Why not? Because
Talbot we will win, but I think it'll be a shite team. Celtic loss, draw against draw against Hibs. That's what I've got.
cheery.
I know it's not.
cheery.
It's no, it's not great.
But that again, that's what we're talking about with Tuesday. Is if the hope is that we've been through our sticky patch, because everybody keeps saying you're not had the sticky patch this season. But if we go on and win, then our sticky patch was that last 6 or 7 weeks where it was win one, lose one, win one, lose one, because we were on a bit of a shite run there. You give yourself the cushion, for example, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves with the Hibs game, but if you can put 10 points between us and Hibs with a game against them coming up, do you know what I mean? Like you're looking at, you put that to bed pretty soonish or sharpish, and you're thinking Motherwell are the closest to us, but I can't see Motherwell have done brilliant, to be fair. Under Graham Alexander, they've had a really good season. And is Tony Watt away yet?
He's got a similar situation that he's signed the pre-contract. So
has he actually signed it though?
Yeah,
it was Dundee United.
So I can't for whatever reason, I can't see Motherwell sustaining the challenge for third, if you know what I mean. I think it will be between Hibs and potentially Aberdeen, depending on how they perform against Rangers or how they perform in 2022. So it feels like these next couple of games are important because Kev, we've got to go on a run in the cup, don't we? We have to. And if you talk to Savage, you talk to anybody connected to the club, the cup, I know what Brad's just saying, and I know that Robbie's thinking in that, but the cup seems to be like a route of success for the club, isn't it? It's something they seem desperate to do well in.
Yeah, both cups have got to be taken with a bit more. I've got to be taken with a lot more sort of ownership of it. We've already said that Robbie out with, of course, his semi-final and final appearances for, but that really wasn't him, if you know what I mean. He had us for the Hibs game, and then he, of course, but a lot of it had already been done by Stendhal. So he's not really performed in the cups. The League Cup's just an absolute travesty over the last, 40 years since we won it. But he's as long as that. But he's got to take a lot more responsibility. And I don't think he will. I don't think he will go well weekend-signed on Saturday for that particular reason. I think Brora will still sit in the back of his head. And from that point of view, he will go with I think, still a fairly strong squad. Yes, he might bring in a few of the young lads just to give them a bit of experience, but I think he'll still have the solid sort of back line that we've already spoken about and we've seen for the last 6 months.
The worry is that we had a strong squad for Brora. That's what.
No, because we had that cheesy in goals.
That's what the worry is. I know, but still. Tam, I've already spoke to you, so I'm not talking to you again. If you've already gave us your
have a point. The good thing about the night we play Celtic, Motherwell and Hibs play each other that night as well, so it's kind of like a free hit that night. Not really, but you know what I mean.
Aye, like you said, we at home, like you said, it's you're kind of hoping that we at least like mimic the Rangers performance, where we don't just allow them to have the ball and dictate what happens. You want us to get up and at them. So that's pretty good. Right, so we've got 4 league games. She's what gives a points prediction. Brad, I'll come to you first. 5. Kev.
7.
Just try to do the maths in my head. I'm struggling here and that. I'd go 8.
Don't think you can get 8 for that, but it's fine.
No, fuck.
Yeah.
2 wins, 2 draws.
2 wins, 2 draws. Aye, exactly.
2 wins, 2 draws. Right, okay.
Aye.
Sound. I'll go the opposite and say 9. I said that's my prediction. I think we'll lose to Celtic. So there we go. We'll end it on a cheery note. Anybody? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else happened that we've missed?
We've not mentioned, but well done to Jamie Walker, who seemed to have a decent debut at the weekend.
Yeah, true. Wearing his dad's top. Have you seen the fucking state of him in that top? What has it got a quadruple extra large on for? It looks like
he's running definitely.
He's running about in bed sheets, man. But aye, that actually we never spoke about Jamie Walker because that was news that came during the week as well. That Jamie Walker went to Bradford on loan for the remainder of the season, and to be honest, it looks like he's played his last game for Hearts. I don't see us signing him again for a third time. Young boy that lived the dream, scored 50 goals for the club he supports and loves. It's sad to see him kind of go without a goodbye into it. It's twice now that he's left without us having the opportunity to show a bit of appreciation for him.
Aye, he's. I mean, I think it was 54 goals he scored altogether. There's no anybody that's even close to that.
Right.
You know, it's what's boys maybe sitting on about 20 something, in his 2 seasons or a couple of years he's been with us. But you've got nobody else that's even close to the 54 goals that he scored for the club. But good luck to him down in Bradford. And as Tam said, I think he had a very good performance on Saturday and got a standing ovation when he was taken off after 70 odd minutes or something like
that. Aye, and like what shouldn't go unnoticed with Jamie Walker's goal return for Hearts is that he's never been a striker. He plays in the midfield or 10 or whatever, but he's also played with some of them humanist Hearts teams gone. Do you know what I mean? And still managed to score goals. So Jamie Walker, he's one of our own. Sad to see him go. Hopefully we can get to see him back at Tynecastle for a wee round of applause and a half-time draw or whatever it is. So aye, boys, see you on Tuesday at the game. Apart from you, Kev, stop booing at coffee. Very injured, very slimy, very snaky. See you later.
See you later.
See ya, mate.
Catch you later.
God get out.